elite results in your life and convenience in your life, oftentimes they ain't friends. They do not like each other. They don't want to spend time with each other. They don't want to talk to each other unless they're talking smack back and forth. They are always going to conflict. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. I help successful professionals build an elite body and mind without sacrificing work or time with your family. I know your life because I lived it for 20 years. If I can do it, if the hundreds of professionals that I've now worked with can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. This is the Success Lift podcast. I'm Brian. I'm your host. I'm the founder of High Performance Health and the Success Lift. We are making a massive impact inside of corporate America, and I am glad that you're with me. I hope that you are finding value from this show. If you are and you're new here, welcome. If you are and you're not new here and you've been around for 200 and almost 70 episodes, I appreciate you. Welcome back. This actually might be 270. Sometimes I should look this stuff up before I start talking, but the number of the podcast is less important than me turning the camera on and turning the microphones on and just starting to have a conversation with you. And that's what I want to do quickly this week. I want to keep this one impactful and short. It's the 28th of July, 2025 at the time of this recording dropping. I'm in the middle of summer heater, I guess you could call it, away for several weeks in June into July and then home for a week. I just got back from a quick-ish 2-day trip up to Wisconsin. Had to go to Milwaukee to see one of my teams that I worked with all throughout the spring. Marquette University, not like one of the sports teams, but worked with one of their leadership teams at the university. If you don't know, I run a executive program inside of corporate America, working with small teams of executives to help them improve their performance outside of the office, their mental and physical performance, their relational performance. I help them build habits and routines. I help them build a stronger foundation in their life so that they can take this better body, better mind, more competent professional, more willing and able and have the tools to be able to deal with the complexity, the stress, the pressure that comes at us as a successful professional, as a busy parent, and take it back into the office and be better at their job and be more productive and have less sick days and have more energy and be a better competitor and be a better teammate and take your organization and themselves along the way to the next level and probably make a little bit more money for you, the owner of the firm, the CEO, the leader of the team, and themselves. And so if that's something that is interesting to you, sounds like might be of some assistance to you, your organization, or your team, I am taking on 2 more corporate teams over the next 2 months. We have 1 team starting, 1 team rolling off. We have room for 2 more teams heading into the end of the 3rd quarter. The end of the summer is actually the best time to be starting this. Most people think about, oh, it's the end of the summer, I shouldn't start. But if you don't start around now, then you'll be into the 4th quarter, holiday season, and it never happens. And so this program is a perfect opportunity to get going in the late part of August as you ramp up into September, October, November, and then give your firm the tools, give your firm the footing, give your team the ability to charge into 2026. So if that's something that would sound interesting to you, I would welcome to have a conversation with you. And I had an amazing conversation and connection moments with the Marquette team last week. I'm pumped to be back in California, back home, not for long, only for another week or so before I take a little summer vacation with my family and another close family of ours. And I'm pumped to do that, pumped to get back into my routine this week. I was disrupted again. We've talked a lot about in and out of routines. And I thought it would be a worthwhile analogy to share a message I've been delivering to my individual clients and my team clients over the last couple of months because it's been top of mind for me. Remember, I live the life that you do. Now, while I don't sit inside of corporate America, going into an office, working that desk job, being on the trading desk, being a financial professional, which is what I was for 20 years, anymore day to day, Number one, I work with over 50 of you one-on-one. I work with a dozen of you in a team capacity. I've had thousands and thousands of conversations to this point with people just like you, and I've lived the life that you live. And so I'm pretty in touch with the struggles that you have on a daily basis. And I still live them. I still have to travel a lot. I still manage growing a business, trying to make more money, hoping to be way more successful than I currently am, appreciating where I am in my life as well, and not just charging forward and having some perspective for the success that I have created, trying to be a great husband, trying to be a great dad, trying to be a great leader to the people who follow me, who have decided that I'm going to be the best person for them, to shepherd them in this season of their lives and their career. And so I deal with all the same crap you do, is basically the short way to say it. And I am living proof of how I win, how I fail, the things that I do, and I take my personal experience and I give it right to my clients as fast as I can to try to time collapse. I'm snapping my fingers right now. Time collapse the period of when you realize something's working, something's not, because we don't have a proper auditing process in our lives most of the time for people who don't have coaching, great coaching, or who aren't in structured programs. And we pick our heads up out of the sand, some of us literally after a summer of fun, and realize that it's now back to school season. It's the middle of September. You haven't stopped drinking all summer. Now the kids are going back to school and you're in this cycle over and over again. And I want you to get out of it. And there's a way to get out of it. And I know how to do it. And it's not the way, it's my way. And my way has worked for me, and it's worked for hundreds of people. There are probably a lot of ways to do this, but I know what I know, and I keep applying it in my own life, and I give it my successes and my failures to clients directly as much as possible. And one of the things I've been telling them recently is elite results in your life and convenience in your life, oftentimes, they ain't friends. They do not like each other. They don't want to spend time with each other. They don't want to talk to each other unless they're talking smack back and forth. They are always going to conflict. And I'm taking my knuckles right now. For those of you not on video, maybe you hear it, and I'm hitting them together, and it kind of hurts a little bit. And that's the friction that we feel in our lives on a regular basis. We have a desire to improve areas of our lives. We have predetermined or a history of being a certain way. We hang out with certain people. We involve ourselves in certain cultures inside of our professional lives and our personal lives. And oftentimes that is going to conflict with the results that we desire as a professional and as a husband, father, mother, daughter, like whatever it may be for you, right? And the irony that I see is that people are willing to push through that resistance point when it comes to their job, but when it comes to their personal life, they are much more willing to fold. And it is a bigger battle for them to be able to do the things that they need to do in order to have the success that they desire. And so the most simple example that I give the clients that I work with, that I speak of when I talk into cameras like this, on microphones, write my little email on a daily basis. If you're not on my email list, you really should. Just go to the successlift.com/join and you can find my email list that you can sign up for, and I'll send you a message on a daily basis at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a quick one. It's a quick hitter. It's motivation, education, inspiration to start your day. I get great feedback on it. So if you enjoy content like this, you'll enjoy content like that. We charge through our work days. We fight through the fatigue. We show up and we do it anyway. We have grit. I've talked about this in the past. One of the characteristics you have shown as a successful professional over the course of the last 10 to 20 plus years is your willingness to show up anyway. Just think back to probably not more than a week ago. Have you done something work related? Have you shown up on a day? Have you gritted your way through a difficult day, a tough meeting, a long week, a business trip that you didn't want to go on, simply because you had to, simply because you told yourself that in order to get the results that you want, as the professional that you want to be and have the success that you want to have, you must do this. And that showdown, again, knuckles crashing, what you want right now versus what you want most. This is what I tell my clients all the time. What you want right now versus what you want most is regularly going to conflict with one another. They are not friends. I have not lost the desire to sit on the couch and do nothing. I have not lost the desire to sleep in. I have not lost the desire to eat like shit. I have not lost the desire to overindulge when it comes to alcohol or drugs or any other vice, gambling, pornography, you name it. I have the desires that you do, okay? And I want you to know that you're not abnormal for having those desires. And there are structures that you can put into place in order to make your life easier. But sometimes you are going to be standing at the fork in the road, like we've talked about in the past. You're going to be standing at the fork in the road, and you have to make a decision in that moment. Now, here is one thing that I've realized for myself, that other clients that I've worked with have realized as well, is that we misinterpret how difficult the struggle is going to be, when in fact, it usually is just a micro moment. Let me give you some real examples. When I am struggling to wake up, to get out of bed and maybe start my day early and go to the gym, oftentimes the thought process going through our head when we're laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wishing that we could just fall back asleep and not start our days and not have to deal with all the things that we do, we attempt to solve for the entire period of time. How am I going to get through this 60 plus minute workout with a 15-minute commute each way and then get home and shower and get ready, when oftentimes we just need to get out of bed and walk into the bathroom and brush our teeth, wash our face, put our contacts in, whatever your personal care routine in the morning is, and get started. Oftentimes we try to solve for, how am I going to not drink at this dinner party or this work function, when in reality, the moment that you just have to solve for is the first time somebody asks you, what are you having to drink? The first time. When I would walk up the fairway at my golf club in New Jersey, and I would get onto the green and I would look over and I would see the halfway house, I would not have to solve for, how am I going to not drink for the next 5 hours of the day? I would just have to solve for, how am I going to walk from the first green to the second tee without veering over to the right and walking about 60 yards and getting myself a vodka at 8 o'clock in the morning? It's that moment. It's that one moment that I had to solve for, because if I didn't do that, the rest of the decisions get easier. The second time somebody asks you at dinner if you're having a drink, it's easier to say no than the first time. And so these moments in time that we have where we decide to get up and move or sit around too much, when we decide to go to bed earlier or watch another 15 minutes, the more we watch 15 minutes of Netflix or scroll on our phone, the harder it is to get out of bed. The first time we hit snooze, the easier it is to hit it the second time. And so we're not solving for an entire day's worth of activities or week's worth of activities. We're solving for these micro moments when we are going to clash between what I want most and what I want right now. And it's okay for you to know that you're going to want to do the thing that you're not supposed to do. Duh. Like, it's a lot of fun to do some of this stuff that I'm referring to. And so having this expectation that it's going to happen is very important, because then it's not a mystery when it shows up. I know to expect that I'm going to desire to drink alcohol in certain situations that I've historically drank over a long period of time. So for me to show up and say, it was really hard for me not to drink, so I decided to drink because everybody else was drinking. Well, of course, everybody else was drinking. That's what we do. That's what you've done. And when you decide not to do it, they may look at you a little funny. They may see you doing different things and say to themselves, well, this is not the Brian that we know. If you decided to show up to work dressed completely differently than you normally do, people will start to ask questions because you are showing up as somebody who historically is different than you've been. And that would be kind of normal for people to ask you why you're dressed up in like a Eurofit, tight Euro-fitted business suit when you used to wear the trader khakis buttoned down with a vest and Gucci loafers. If you show up with like a little scarf, some tight fitted pants and a completely different look, people are going to start to look at you and go, what are you doing, dude? Why are you dressed differently? And that's what you're doing when you decide to take different actions in your life. And so when we question why people are asking us and then fold under that pressure, it's like, well, of course they're going to ask us questions. All right. So what do you want most versus what do you want right now? For all my financial professionals, I recently talked about rebalancing portfolios around the end of the quarter in June. Rebalancing portfolios in our professional lives is very normal. Rebalancing your habits, rebalancing your personal life, rebalancing your routines, that feels pretty abnormal, but it's the same concept. You need to start to think about where should you rebalance aspects of your life, whether it's the conversations that you have at home with your spouse, whether it's your morning routine, your evening routine. People continue to do the same things and fight their way uphill when they need to understand, let's look at the structure of what you're doing on a regular basis. And could it be revamped to make your life easier? It's a heck of a lot easier to be a morning person when you're not up until 11:30 p.m. It's a heck of a lot easier to get out of bed when your phone is across the room and it's not right here on your nightstand and you can just whack-a-mole the snooze button. It's a lot easier to go to the gym when you've laid out your gym clothes next to your phone, next to a glass of water, next to a note that says, get your ass up and stop hitting the snooze button, because what you want most is more important than what you want right now. Leave little notes for yourself. That's another little tip or a trick. It's a lot easier to drink a lot of water in the morning when you stick it next to your toothbrush or the coffee maker in the kitchen. So pairing some of the things that you want to do with some of the things that you currently do is a little hack that we implement inside of my programs. Make it easier on yourself. Reward yourself. It's a lot easier to go take that walk in the morning when you're allowed to scroll Twitter or look up the news or go online. And if you don't let yourself do it until you're outside moving around your neighborhood or in the gym on the treadmill or on the Peloton taking an easy ride, then that's your reward. And so you can pair some of these things together, but oftentimes you must solve for that 30 seconds, that 60 seconds, that 90 seconds, and have a willingness to show up in your life, because this is going to be a constant. Getting elite results is going to require you to do different things. And I know you know this because you've done it for decades inside of your career. You've shown up to work early. You've stayed late. You've traveled when you didn't want to. You've worked weekends when you've had to. You've skipped kids' activities. You've missed a date night. You've gotten stuck at work. You've had to have that phone call where you're just like, I'm not going to make it home. You do these things because you want particular results in your professional career. Similar types of actions, adversity, and butting up against what it is you actually want to do versus what's the convenient thing to do is always going to happen, and maybe even more so in your personal life. And so that's a little mantra that I've been using in my own life, that my clients have been using, that's been working for them, is this just notion of stop waiting for the results that you want to be convenient with the things that you want to do. Now, let me fast forward a decade. because I'm in this mode of my life. I'm in this period of my life now where I've been doing certain things in my life for over 10 years. I made a huge personal transformation in 2015, the beginning of 2015. For those of you who don't know my story, I was effectively forced to change a lot of habits in my life when I felt like my marriage was on the brink of divorce. My mom had just passed away, and I thought my life was going to kind of come crumbling down as I knew it outside of the office. I was forced to make certain decisions. Those decisions were easy for me in the moment because of the pain that I was in. But as you get further and further away from the pain, and this is where people have the most trouble. When you're far enough away from pain, but not close enough towards this pleasurable outcome that you really do desire, it's hard to make some of these choices. When you go to the doctor, your blood work is shit. When your marriage is on the brink of divorce, when you're 50 to 100 pounds overweight, it's a little bit easier to see some of this stuff. But when you're 20 pounds overweight, when you're still getting some action at home a couple of times a month, when your marriage isn't as bad as everybody else you know, when you guys are just getting along most of the time, that's when it's hard. That's when you don't have the painful memory of where you were, or maybe where you came from, but you're not quite where you want to be yet. So I was forced to make a lot of these decisions in a painful moment, but then I got comfortable. So I spent a year or two making huge progress. Then I stalled out for a year or two. Then I made another gap of progress in my life. These points become really hard when we get comfortable enough. And so I've now been doing this enough where some of these things are a lot easier for me. And you have to understand. So like, think about it. I'm sure that getting up today and going to work when you don't want to, I'm sure it's not easier from the perspective of like, nobody wants to go. But you now have evidence to support that when you do it anyway, you get the result. So it's further reinforced. You may have missed 1 or 2 days back in the day of getting into the office and you're like, I can't do that again. Maybe you got reprimanded. Maybe you just felt shameful about it. But like now you understand what it takes to just get through a day and keep moving on and keep charging forward. And so you have evidence to support that when I do this, even when I don't want to do it, I get the result that I want professionally. That's the same experience you're going to have in your personal life. And not enough people experience the result by doing the things sometimes that they don't want to do enough in order to get past it and push through that initial period of resistance. Here's the problem. That initial period of resistance can last a year or two. I have clients who, are 1 or 2 years into transforming their lives, and some of this stuff is still hard. Welcome to the game of being an elite performer. It's a never-ending quest to move forward and find the next level for you in your life. But it does get easier. You do become more experienced at doing this stuff, but you have to push through. You have to make sure you're doing it on a regular. If you don't, you're just ingraining the habits of somebody who does it some of the time. And the best do things all of the time. They do the little things all of the time. When I say all, obviously there's moments to rest. There's times to take off. It's a 90-10, 95-5, whatever your percentage split is. But it's not 50-50. It's not even 60-40 for most of us. So elite results and convenience, they ain't friends. Stop trying to make them play nice in a sandbox. They're not going to. Oftentimes, you got to suck it up, do it anyway. You have to take control of areas of your life that you're struggling with and push through enough for long enough so that you can experience the evidence to support that this is the way you must do it. If you are struggling with making your elite results and convenience friends, you should find people to talk to. You should find a program to be in. You should find people who are doing the things that you want to do and ask them for help. Reach out to them. join their program, pay some money. This is not an advertisement for me, although I do all those things. Find somebody else. There's tons of great coaches out there. Stop going at it alone. Having people to talk to, having examples to live by, having the experience of others who have walked the path that you are looking to walk is the fastest way for you to get the results that you want in your life. You've done it in your career. You've had mentors. You've followed them. You've used them as counsel. You've modeled yourself after them. The same goes for your personal life. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great week. I'll see you back here next week.